we go around at my job with the Eno Center for Transportation and we talk to policymakers, to political leaders, to innovators, there is an insatiable demand for them to learn from one another. And so they ask us, please tell me about the innovations that are happening in places like Pittsburgh and in Tampa Bay or in Chicago, and tell me how that thing went wrong in this other place. And so there's a huge market for people to learn, to scale, and to replicate. And once you get these good ideas, once someone cracks the code, they spread like wildfire. So what we want to do here today is to provide those real tangible examples of things that are going on so that folks can learn, scale, and replicate.
And instead of talking about what the technologies could do sometime in the future, we're talking about what they can do right now. So the whole series is focused on two basic concepts. One, how do our public agencies and local governments react to the technologies? And two, how does it affect technology that can be implemented today? It's fun to talk about what could happen in 20 or 30 years, but our public officials and our public agencies, they want to know what should they be doing tomorrow.
As part of its Smart Cities initiative, Kansas City, Missouri recently launched a modern streetcar line and is pushing forward on autonomous vehicle testing.
Opportunity for us to link some of our small businesses. They're doing some really neat work with integrated roadways and Wi-Fi, and to link it to the folks who produced the Ray during the keynote this afternoon. Had a chance to talk with them afterwards, and there may be an opportunity there for this small Kansas City company to gain some national level notoriety. Having a chance to talk to the Portland guys again and see where the advances they're making in transportation match what we're doing from data analysis is something that I think will pay huge dividends. Getting a chance to catch up with the guys from Austin and what they're looking at in terms of burying I-35, which was part of their Smart City Challenge application, is one of the things that we're looking at doing with our northern loop in the heart of our downtown. This is the place where you get a lot of innovative thinkers who are doing some really cool things. And it's much easier for us to collaborate than for all of us to make the exact same mistake and pay for it 5 times.
Yeah, so I think the next thing is that people are going to start to do more pilot projects of real technology that can actually, whether it's a self-driving car or self-driving bus, or it's a new safety program, or it's a partnership between a transit agency and a transportation network provider. These kind of partnerships or test pilots, I think, are the next step. And we're going to be seeing a lot of that come out in this region in the coming years.
Now, one of the things that we've learned through this process is that you have to collaborate not just within your city, but across both state and city lines. And by our partnership with Alan and with the Kansas City, Kansas guys, we now have figured out at least some ways that we can test for AVs crossing a state line.
I think the next thing that's going to happen is that folks are starting to do their own deployments. And no one's waiting around to see what happens in Washington, even though we just came off a presidential campaign where both candidates talked very glowingly about infrastructure, trillion-dollar infrastructure plans and things like this. And so there'll be a federal conversation, but people outside of Washington aren't waiting for the federal government to react. They're doing their own things, they're having their own experiments, doing their own demonstrations, and they're going to make some mistakes, but people are going to learn from that, and they're going to scale, and they're going to tailor. I think we're going to see a lot of things happening, mostly from outside. Eventually this town will react, no matter who's in charge, but the real leadership is coming from outside right now.